Welcome back to hour number 2, our numero dos of Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio, live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. I'm Stan Grubb, Rob Hefner joining me as well, and of course, Fast Eddie Layne sitting there as well with us. He's on the 1s and the 2s and the 3s and the 4s and the 5s and the 6s.
And the 420s.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So, we've been talking about just some of our...
WNBC.
Oh, wait a minute.
Are you trying to pull that bit back?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pig Vomit. I mean...
I said... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So when we left you during the first hour, we were doing kind of our quick hits on some of the bits and pieces of WrestleMania. Might as well just go ahead and just run down the card real quick, just so we can get our thoughts on each individual matchup. So first, we got the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Matt Hardy winning this Battle Royal. Bit of a surprise, but a good one, to say the least. Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is responsible for this victory as he comes in and basically distracts everyone in the ring.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I like the idea of Bray and Matt Hardy being in the same group. But I saw a rumor, and you know how rumors are. I saw a rumor where they're actually thinking that Bray will end up turning heel again and being the leader of Sanity when they get called up. That could be cool.
I mean, that would be cool. I could see that. My thing was, I guess going from the whole, Lake of Reed, whatever.
Reincarnation?
Yeah. Right. There was no change in Bray. There's no, physical character change in Bray.
Right.
To me, he should have come out in something else, his hair pulled back or something, and that's just kind of I don't know. I can't say the word.
Differentiate.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm here for. 50-cent words.
You know, it would show the difference between his before the Hardy compound and the after.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's something where he just was not willing to make a change of appearance or what the case may be, but it definitely doesn't come off as good when he just comes out the exact same way, only supposedly he's clean of Sister Abigail now, whatever the hell that means. So we go from that to, in my opinion, one of the best matches of the night, the finals of the Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, 205 Live has two of the best performers in the ring right now with Alexander and Mustafa Ali. Great. Cedric, finally we can call Cedric Alexander the Cruiserweight Champion.
Months too long.
Yeah. The tournament itself was great. This relaunch that they've had for 205 has been tremendous. And this is a great feather in the cap for Triple H, as really getting 205 back on the right line.
Yeah, I mean, I think 205 needed a little bit more presence on the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe, but Cedric Alexander as the champion is going to give it that legitimacy that it's needed since TJ Perkins, really?
Yeah, very true.
That bona fide cruiserweight the man has given his all since he's been in the WWE. So, I mean, he's gone in whatever matches they want him to be in. And it shows that with the right direction, you don't need to bring in established stars to have bona fide stars. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. You don't have to, reinvent the wheel, so to speak. You just got to put the focus on the guys in the ring and let them tell the story, and that's exactly what these two did. The high spots were great. The Spanish Fly that Ali hit was ridiculous. I don't know how that move gets pulled off the way it does without somebody honestly getting hurt. Because, wow. I mean, it's a flatliner, only you're doing a backwards flip. It's a moonsault flatliner, essentially. But jeez, flip. So you go from that to the women's battle royal, and we did talk about it a little bit. Bayley and Sasha, finally, it's just them two, but not really. Naomi had not been eliminated, as we had thought, and Naomi ends up sneaking away with the win. Just a waste. This was a waste of time for the women's division, and honestly, whoever was responsible for booking this way should really feel ashamed of themselves. It was just poor planning.
I mean, I think I agree. It seemed very rushed. You know, like they did the build up, they did the lead in, they did all the ring entrances to the big stars, and then it was like boom, 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 out. All right, you're done. You know, it's kind of like they do in the Royal Rumble every now and then. You know how they get the build up of the men in the ring, and then you're like, all right, somebody's going to come in and clear house.
Yeah,
and they do. You know, so it's like they had all the women in there, and then they started looking at each other, going, "All right, I guess it's my turn to go over the top."
Right.
You know, and then I swear I saw one of them just hop over the top, like she's like, "I'm out, right?" You know, like
it actually did seem like there was a little bit of confusion as to what was supposed to be going on. Maybe it was nerves. I mean, I suppose on a big enough stage like that, it's feasible to have that happen, but they just didn't really seem like they knew the direction they were trying to go.
And can somebody please tell me what in the bloody AG double hockey sticks was Mickie James wearing? Was she trying to be a Power Ranger? What was she trying to look like?
I think we were trying to figure that out while it was going on. It was either that or it was what did Brian say? Dragon Ball Z?
Was she borrowing New Day stuff from last year?
Yeah, right.
Was she in the warehouse and she's like, "Hey, that looks cool.
Can I wear that? Can I have somebody take a look at that?" Sure, why not? Yeah, waste of time. That Battle Royal didn't serve a purpose. It just wasn't good. I mean, yeah, it's a big moment for the women's division, but you really didn't even have any kind of cameos or anything. You just had poorly booked, poorly performed, and that will be the end of that. So that's the pre-show. We get to the opener for the actual pay-per-view, and this one was really good. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship: The Miz, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor. What can you say about this match that probably hasn't already been all over the place as far as Twitter or Facebook? Miz had a great showing for himself. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor did very, very well. I was happy to see Seth Rollins win the title.
I mean, I was happy. You knew it was going to come on because you knew, especially with the week leading up, that with the Miz's daughter being born, you knew it's only common that he was, all right, I'm going to take some time off. You know?
Right.
I think they were going to try to build up for him to lose the title and take time off, but I think she came before that could happen. But now you can have a great series between him and Finn Balor. It's not saying, and don't get me wrong, don't people get mad, but I'm not lessening The Miz at any way, because we were talking about it earlier that The Miz is a bona fide heel. Like, he's awesome. So, whenever he decides to come back, and whenever, or if he leaves at all, him and the Miztourage are going to have fun. But it's just, I'd like to see a series of Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. I mean, especially since your top title is still tied up with Mr. I Don't Show Up and Mr. Nobody Cares.
Right, exactly. And now we've got with Samoa Joe back from his injury, and now seemingly in the mix, looking on apparently at the greatest Royal Rumble ever. He's involved in a ladder matchup for the Intercontinental title. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, The Miz, Samoa Joe, and I want to say there's someone else involved, and I can't remember the name. But, I mean, even if it's just the four of them,
Mojo. I don't know.
Mojo. No Mojo. I like Mojo, but no. So then we get to a matchup that, the matchup itself was good. So I want to stress that before we go too deep into it. But the ending, the outcome, a lot of confusion here. SmackDown Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair defending against Asuka. I really enjoyed the match, but the end, I'm still not sure exactly what what was happening here, because Asuka's momentum that has been built over 2 years almost, now we get to a position where it's time to end the streak. Just shock value being what it is, I still don't get it. I think the right move was made overall because it was able to help elevate a bad guy in the form of Carmella on SmackDown, but it really, I'm not sure what we're going to see out of Asuka here. And maybe that's just it. Maybe that's the drama that we haven't seen unfold, and that could actually be good, is what does she do from here?
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, I had a mic problem. I don't understand. Like, I'm right there with you. Like, you build her up, and then you have her end her streak on the grandest stage of them all for what?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where, especially with Asuka, you're just not really capitalizing on the momentum that you've built over this entire road to WrestleMania. I mean, you started it back in November, really, and you just kept building and kept building and kept building, and now you've just you just give up. I mean, I wonder if perhaps, and I don't mean to bring this up in a negative manner, but I wonder if perhaps they felt that with her delivery on the microphone, it just wasn't there.
I mean, it could have been that, but I mean, even still, you couldn't give her the belt at Mania and then she lost it on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, it's confusing because you've got somebody in Asuka that has been willing to really do whatever you ask of her. And honestly, had they have wanted her to lose at any point in time in NXT, she'd have did it. She seems like she's doing business all day long. She's not worried about it. So I really didn't understand the booking of that. Again, this is all from a fan perspective. You've got to keep in mind that, we're looking at it from the perspective of we thought it was going to be this, and it turns out to be that. That's how it goes. I mean, this is all... Some will call it sour grapes. I think we're looking at it from a perspective of we just don't get some of this stuff. So moving on from the SmackDown Women's title match, we go to the United States Championship match that nobody wanted. The crowd could have cared less. Jinder Mahal comes away with the victory after hitting the Kalash on Rusev, who, by the way, Rusev Day was running wild. Rusev Mania, running wild at WrestleMania. They could have cared less for Jinder or for Randy Orton. Bobby Roode got a pretty positive reaction, but again, the title match that nobody wanted to see.
No, I mean, to me, there was too many people in the match. Like, you had built up Randy Orton versus Bobby Roode versus, even if you had just Jinder. But then to throw in Rusev for some god reason. And wasn't there somebody else in the match?
Well, I mean, Aiden English got involved, but he was at ringside. With all the controversies surrounding Rusev right now, especially since at the Greatest Royal Rumble, he was scheduled to be in a casket match against The Undertaker.
Yeah,
right?
Very softly, brother.
Yeah, right? He puts that out on Twitter, and then, bam, next thing we know, we find out Chris Jericho is replacing him, which, hey, if you're going to replace somebody, talk about a step up. Jericho and The Undertaker in a casket match. Speaking of, not to go too far out of order, but hey, how about how good The Undertaker looked at WrestleMania?
I thought if they were going to bring him in, and I think that match went the way it was supposed to. Like it should have been. If you're going to bring him in, and you're going to have him whip someone's butt, then it should be allowed, instead of you called The Undertaker out, and it was like old school Undertaker because you didn't see any weaknesses in the character or in the man during that match because you didn't give John Cena a chance, or there was no chance for John Cena to run offense. Make sense?
But you can see the weave.
To make The Undertaker look, all right, because you start throwing the Undertaker around, that's when you're going to start seeing, all right, wait a minute, But,
Right.
I mean, he didn't look winded, so I was impressed.
You were saying, Eddie?
Although you could tell it was a weave.
Yeah, I mean, his hair was a lot frizzier than normal, I know.
It was,
A weave.
yeah, I'm not getting into that. I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to make it look good for Hollywood, right?
There you go.
I was happy to see The Undertaker have a match where he was The Undertaker. He was dominant. And for a guy like Cena, Brian and I have talked about it a couple times. Rob, I know we've mentioned it. For The Undertaker, this is the way, if you're really going to go close it out. Cena loses nothing by putting him over, and Undertaker gets to go off into the sunset. But apparently not, because he's at the greatest Royal Rumble ever.
Well, see, that's what doesn't make sense, okay? Like, normally the casket match is a payoff.
Right, right, but now it's actually
reason
like the
for
beginning
the
of
casket
something.
match. It's not, I'm going to challenge you to a casket match. I mean, it's just, that's where I have the issue with the casket match. Granted, I'm a Taker fan from way back. I like The Undertaker. I was a little hurt when his streak ended, but you know what? When you're been around the business as much as The Undertaker has, and you've been able to reinvent your character as often as The Undertaker has, and stay relevant as The Undertaker has, you can do whatever damn well thing you want to.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this is probably Vince's way of letting him go out the way he wants to go out. I mean, and I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I think it's also one of those situations where, God, I mean, he has this matchup with Cena, and maybe it's like, wow, I feel real good. I want to keep going. I want to keep doing it. And then we get to next year's WrestleMania, and then we have one of those, holy crap, is he going to even make it through the matchup?
Right.
And I almost feel bad saying that because I don't want to be disrespectful to The Undertaker, but the fact is, we've seen two different Undertakers in recent years. So, man, I'm part of me is hopeful that he's at least he's able to finish out his run the way he wants. But I also hope that he actually is truly finishing out his run.
Right. I mean, there's got to be a time. It's just like we talked about, one day when we were sitting around talking. Like Ric Flair. Okay? There had to come a time that Ric Flair was going, like, he just had to stop, Or Hogan.
Yeah.
Like, these icons that just keep coming back, that just keep doing their thing. There's got to be a time where, you know what? Because at the end, it did get sad watching Ric Flair come out.
Yeah, it really did.
I mean, you're watching him come out. You're watching him, even when he went to TNA, you're like, this is just sad.
Yeah.
Or it's, so, I mean, when The Undertaker was taking on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I mean, that was just sad.
Yeah,
it
was just awkward to watch.
Right, you're just like, come on, man. Like, somebody ring the bell or hit the music or something. So when he came out this year, and it was like, oh. And then they let him hit all his big spots. It was nice. It was nice, and I agree. Like,
yeah,
if The Undertaker were to never wrestle again, like, he would be in the Hall of Fame before they got to Raw on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, they would literally do a Hall of Fame ceremony just for The Undertaker. I think. I mean, it's one of those guys, one of those characters that the day he truly says, I'm done, it's like you're going to have a parade in the streets and everything celebrating The Undertaker, because that's just what Vince McMahon, I think, would do for The Undertaker. The Taker probably would refuse it because he's the kind of guy that doesn't want that kind of attention, but, geez. So, we go from talking about Taker and Cena, so we've covered that. I think we've done a pretty good job of talking about Ronda Rousey's debut. I was damned impressed with her. I want to see more, but at the same time, I'm hesitant because, as we talked about, she was in fact in the ring with Stephanie McMahon, who's pretty good at making people look good. It's going to be interesting to see who she's in there with next, who her real test comes from. But I have a positive feeling about it. We go from that matchup, which I think was exciting. The crowd was on its feet. It took the wind out of the sails. And now we're at the SmackDown Tag Title matchup, which, I mean, what was the point? Well, this should have been on the pre-show.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
why? It's just why?
I mean, it was just horrible.
Yeah, this wasn't even a WrestleMania caliber matchup.
I mean, it was a typical, all right, we've got WrestleMania, all right? And to me, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, with the intentions it has, it is a way to get more people, more names on the pay-per-view.
Right.
All right? That's the sole purpose of that. All right? So, we come into WrestleMania, all right? And you look at it. SmackDown. The U.S. title was a multi-person match.
And a bad one at that.
Right. The IC title was a multi-person match. The SmackDown Tag title, a multi-team match. You see a story here? It's like, wait a minute. We made New Day the host last year.
Right.
So we can't do that again. Because it didn't make any sense then, and it doesn't make any sense now. It's just...
Well, I mean, and don't forget, you had the Raw Tag titles, which was Braun Strowman and a kid from the crowd. Which, I mean, it turns out that was actually the son of referee John Cone, but still, come on, that was dumb.
It was funny, but my thing is, they should have built on it.
I think they just should have let him beat him by himself. Well, I mean, it was funny, but like, why don't you just let the guy beat him? Just let him beat Cesaro and Sheamus by himself.
Yeah. Or
I mean, he pretty much did, but
he could have held off and done the whole Braun with glasses gimmick at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know? Or
that
what you did was a great PR thing, is you use a different kid every week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, maybe like the Make-A-Wish Foundation kids
you could be like,
get their moment.
This is... I said it's me versus me and my partner. It's whoever I choose as my partner.
Right.
You know? Just like New Day. Any of New Day can defend the title. You know?
That lasts about 3 weeks.
But then now you have a tournament, which...
Yeah.
You punk out the club in the opening prelim to the tournament.
Again.
Well, at least, while I agree with you there, at least we saw the Revival come out on top for once.
Agreed. So it all leads into superstar screw up, what they're going to do next week.
Maybe they break up the Revival. You know,
I mean,
God forbid, but, you know.
It's like, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I truly feel sorry for Authors of Pain. Because, like, you get called up to the main roster. For what?
Yeah, you go to Raw where tag teams but go to die, pretty much. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. It's going to be interesting to see what they do next.
It's like I felt sorry for them almost as much as I felt sorry for No Way Jose.
Yeah, he's probably going to go the way of Adam Rose.
I mean, nobody that's done that gimmick has ever gone to anything.
Yeah, I don't understand why they thought that was going to go over very well. I mean, yeah, it gets attention. I mean, it gets attention in a positive way for a little bit, and maybe Jose is able to turn it into something. Maybe they say, hey, he's really popular. We're going to get behind him, and he gets a run at something. But I just, honestly, I don't know. I can't for the life of me understand why they do that. I don't know. I don't have enough faith in Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon to say that that's going to be good. So we go from Taker and Cena and Rousey and Angle over Cena and Rousey and Angle over Triple H and Stephanie to the SmackDown Tag Strap match, which was bad, to Daniel Bryan coming back to the ring. Hey, how about that? That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aside from Daniel Bryan coming back, which was cool, I mean, was this matchup really very good? Because I didn't think so.
It is an angle, like, I know we've talked about for years, like, how the WWE suffers from ADD.
Yes.
You know,
definitely
it's like, we got an angle, oh, wait a minute, what's that over there? You know? Like,
Squirrel.
And I can say that because I have been diagnosed ADD, ADHD, so nobody gets in fan mail or whatever, hate mail or whatever, like anybody's listening anyway, but...
all 5 of them. Thank you.
But it's like, here we go. You have this angle that's been going on that is just leading up to some type of square up, you know? But then what's the payoff?
Well,
you know, Daniel Bryan comes back. That's the payoff.
Right. But the thing was, like, this whole time we've been seeing Daniel Bryan and Shane teased, so we end up getting them tagging up against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which, hey, don't get me wrong, the fact that Daniel Bryan's back in the ring, I love that. I was so excited to see him go up against AJ Styles, by the way. But what gave them a thought process here that this was... I don't know. I'm happy that Daniel Bryan is back in the ring. This was a big match feel, but it just kind of came off flat to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd have been better. Like, it'd have had more pop if they wouldn't have said anything.
If he just came out there like it was a handicap and then Daniel Bryan's music hit, something like that.
Shane McMahon comes out and he's like, I'm here and this, you know, I told you I had a partner and you know what? Luck be have it. This is my partner. And then hit his music.
That place would have lost its mind.
I mean, the people would have popped but in this day and time in social media land, you can't keep anything secret because every little swinging person in the back of the room is going to be like in the back who's trying to make a name for themselves is going to say anything, you know?
Yeah.
Like any of the interns or anywhere that are trying to get their name out there. Oh, hey, I just overheard Daniel Bryan talking at the craft service table about how he passed his physical. You know?
Well, and there's the thing. I definitely feel like with Daniel Bryan coming back that we have some opportunities here to see him hopefully go out on his own terms because I have a feeling he won't be back long. I have a feeling he'll probably go until there's a scare or there's a shake, you know, that maybe makes him feel it's not quite right. And he says, you know what? They let me come back. I got it. I did what I wanted to do, and now I'm done because I want to be done. So that's what
I think he's back, and it's depending on how they bring him back. You know what I mean? Like, if they brought him back as hey, Daniel Bryan's back. He's the hard luck case. He got the title. He had to give it up both times, and you know, like he's the man. He's here. Then yeah, I can see him leaving.
Yeah.
But if they come out and they're like now, they've already given up his general manager position to Paige, which I'll hold my opinions to that for some other time. But what do they do with him? And I think the next few months is a telling sign. If they put him right in the mix, it's great. If they don't, then you can tell that he won't be long.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that what really will tell the story is what we see in the next few weeks on television. I mean, because we saw, as predicted, we saw Alexa Bliss lose the title to Nia Jax. What we didn't see was the cross-brand cash-in that we thought was going to happen. I don't know about you, Rob, but there's only but so much you can say about this matchup.
Right.
What did stand out to me when I look at the WWE title match, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, expectations I had for this matchup were definitely not matching up to how this match actually happened. So, hate to see it, but I hate to say it, rather, I was disappointed with this match.
I mean, I think if Shinsuke, I kept waiting for Shinsuke and AJ from Japan to go at it.
Yeah, for there to be like a strong style feel or something like that. Yeah.
That's what I was hoping for. I was like, all right, these two guys can take it. They can do it. But to me, it's like they've been in the WWE machine so long. They've been in the WWE machine now. It's like what we got was AJ versus Nakamura, WWE downed.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, at least we did get to see something we weren't expecting. We saw Shinsuke turn, which nobody saw coming.
No, and I'm interested to see, because I truly believe Shinsuke could be. I mean, he was always that middle of the road anyway. And
yeah, he really is.
And the way it is nowadays, I mean, your audience determines if you're a heel or a face anyway. You could go out and, throw babies around the ring, and they'll be all like, "Woo!" And people will still cheer.
Right. Wow, Rob. We have breaking news.
What?
Eddie, do you have this headline?
From the Corner to Corner News Center. According to Us Weekly, after 6 years together, John Cena and Nikki Bella have reportedly called it quits. The couple revealed this exclusively to Us Weekly. The couple, not sure exactly which one was wearing the pants to make this statement, said, quote, "While this decision was a difficult one, we continue to have a great deal of love and respect for one another. We ask that you respect our privacy during this time." In a somewhat unrelated issue, the corner of 5th Avenue and 14th Street is undergoing a very heavy traffic flow right now, as a slender brunette wearing a fearless bikini top is offering half-price discounts on her hourly rates for some reason. Film at 11. And that's the way it is.
And this just in, John Cena has announced his intentions to marry his longtime friend, Albert Del Rio.
And to follow up, coming back to the discussion, I really wanted, you brought up one that I have been deflecting all week when you make the reference to AJ Shinsuke at Mania. Yes, for those of us who saw AJ Shinsuke in New Japan and were thinking that this match was going to be an extension of that match, there would have been no fruit in that, because this is their first major stage encounter in WWE, whereas WWE is now acknowledging the existence of other companies, and they will acknowledge the existence of matches that have occurred in other companies, such as New Japan. For the WWE universe, which I have referred to the mainstream wrestling fans, now granted, the nights of the week have changed. I've always said MTFers, because remember, for a while it was Monday Night Raw, Thursday Night Impact, Friday Night SmackDown. Well, now it's MTT, but it just doesn't sound the same. MTTers. M2 squared, something like that. I don't know. So, if they had given us the New Japan version of their match, what else would we have to look forward to? At least with them giving us the WWE version of their match, We have something to look forward to in the next encounter. Plus, remember, at WrestleMania this past weekend, AJ Styles, face. Shinsuke Nakamura, face. You had a face matchup. You can only do so much without genuinely drawing heat during a match. And one of them going either into that tweener or into a heel roll on the fly. Now that we have defined heel-face roles in this, that next match, look out.
Well, I think you brought up a good point, because I think that's one of the things we suffered from with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
You know, when they first started their feud, they gave us the NXT, I'm going to knock your face off, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Right.
And like in the last couple encounters, like the one on Monday, or the one on Monday, it was like, it was just, we're here.
Who runs NXT?
So,
who runs NXT?
Exactly.
Regal. Triple H.
So you mean like? So I think you hit it on the head, because now the next one they can just build, and it's not like, all right, we have to top it. It's kind of like Sasha versus Bayley. You know, they had to top the last one. You know?
Remember Zayn Nakamura from NXT when the crowd chanted "Fight Forever"?
Right.
Yes.
Was that a WWE match, or was that a New Japan match, or was that an NXT match?
That was an NXT match.
Okay, so you don't think that was more of a New Japan match?
No.
What about a Ring of Honor match?
You're talking style?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say it's closer to Ring of Honor, but to me, the feel of the crowd on that was just so organic. Honestly, you could call it NXT.
I'll give you that one, because the crowd that goes to an NXT show has a different vibe and energy to it. That's because the fact that, number one, if you're going to a Monday Night Raw show, you know that you're going to be getting a touch of a pre-show plus a 3-hour-long event where it's going to be start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. At least with NXT, unless they're doing it live, and that's why I love NXT Live. House shows are cool as hell with them. Then on top of that, you get them on TakeOver, the ride continues. This is where WWE shoots themselves in the foot more often than not on both live and tape shows, because especially when they run so many promos during the commercials, the one thing that just makes me want to vomit more than anything else that WWE does, you have got a spectacular match in the ring, and it's going full freaking tilt to where it's like, you go to commercial, I'm going to kill you. They go to commercial, and the first thing they run is a WWE promo. No. Granted, you've got a captive audience on that one, but still, that is why I like SmackDown more than I do Raw right now, because at least SmackDown on some matches will give you the split screen, which is a long time overdue. Remember, if NASCAR is doing it, everybody else should have been doing it 5 years sooner. And I love NASCAR, don't get me wrong.
I mean, it's one of those deals where everybody has their own individual opinions and preferences, but by and large, when you have these kinds of situations, you've got to capitalize when you have the opportunity, and so many of them get missed. Like with Owens and Zayn, you've got two guys that are wrestling at the top of their game about 99.9% of the time, and you just stick them together, or you stick them in matches against each other, which is all fine and good for a little bit, but after a while, it's just, man, it's time to do something different. You can't just keep doing the same matchups and expecting different results. I mean, you're getting the same thing like when you did with Roman and Brock. I mean, the only difference there was that they finally let Brock just unleash the beast, so to speak, and beat the holy crap out of Roman Reigns, which should have been, by the way, how they did that the first time and left it at that. At least it would have made sense to have Roman come back after him and say, I want revenge. God help us if they're going to try to stretch this for another damn year. That is just no. And I am a Roman Reigns fan. I like Roman Reigns, but no. Enough is enough, man. And to quote Owen Hart, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Don't we have a movie? Isn't there some movie they can make or something like, The
Marine 20, something, anything.
Something to get him off TV for a while.
34 rounds. I don't care. Just do something. Jesus, flip. And because I like Roman, I know that this isn't doing him any favors. I mean, Brock knocked the crap out of him the entire match. It wasn't like Roman could win this. No, I mean, he hit a desperation move after desperation move, and then Brock was back on the offensive. That was it. That was the story. So, Greatest Royal Rumble hits, and if Roman Reigns wins, one, boy, don't you look dumb for setting that up at a pay-per-view that nobody's really going to care about. Two, you wasted that opportunity. So if you do a rematch next year, good God, get your head checked. That's just a horrible move. Aside from that, aside from what we saw with the Universal title match and the streak ending, Cena, losing in very convincing fashion to The Undertaker. I mean, Mania it definitely had highlights that were WrestleMania worthy. Some of the matchups that didn't make sense just really floored me as to how they made it onto a pay-per-view, much less not on a pre-show. Raw after Mania, exciting, yeah. I was happy to see Authors of Pain get a call-up, but at the same time, a couple clarifications for that. Leaving Paul Ellering behind, come on, guys. Paul Ellering's in his 60s, almost 70s, right? He's not going on the road. So that's not going to happen. Secondly, where we talked about earlier, where tag teams go to die, is basically Monday Night Raw. So what is the Authors of Pain going to do? Are they going to end up getting squashed by Braun Strowman next? I mean, I don't know, buddy.
Well, I mean, it was like the call-ups, like No Way Jose and them, and then Ember Moon. Like, what are you going to do to Ember Moon now? It's just... It made about as much sense as Peyton Royce and what's-her-name coming out and beating up Charlotte. What is the point? You know what I mean? I mean, obviously it was the build-up for what's-her-name to come out. But,
Who, D. Snyder?
I don't know. It's just... Almost, as I've said before, as a wrestling fan, as a wrestler, I would almost want to stay on NXT for a little while and build your character and build the stuff, then go to the main roster and get forgotten. I.e. Apollo Crews. I.e. Tyler Breeze.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, with all these call-ups, what they ruined with Tyler Breeze, what they ruined with Apollo Crews, now just known as Apollo. I mean, you've got all this opportunity, but you're not taking advantage of this opportunity to really make them any better. So what possible reason does your talent that's getting the call-up have to believe that you're actually doing anything to help them out?
I think
hopefully
Authors of Pain is
turns
great.
out for the better.
I mean, I think Authors of Pain is great, but do you need another tag team like Authors of Pain, The Club, The Revival, The Bar, all on the same show?
Yeah.
I mean,
to me, if in fact the reports are true for Sheamus, if his health is truly in question, then I hope that Cesaro is able to move forward, and they can consider him a legitimate single star because he deserves that role. I'm tired of seeing Sheamus in a situation where he's put in a tag team, put in a singles role, put in a tag team. I mean, the guy just needs... If his health is poor, he needs to take time off. If he's not in poor health, then let's put him on a singles run, put Cesaro on a singles run, split these guys up, and let's do something with them. You got too many tag teams now to start screwing around with that, and I think if you do this, this superstar shakeup, you better start paying attention to where you're putting people because it's time to do something with that. So as we get towards, we're coming up towards the closing. Rob, I wanted to give this at least a moment. Who would you consider to be the best Intercontinental Champion of all time?
Oh, dear Lord. I was hoping I wouldn't have to answer this question. I go back to, when I started watching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the first IC title person I got behind was Ricky Dragon Steamboat. That's the first one that I'm like, yeah. And I rooted for him ever since, And I'm also a Savage guy, but, you could have an argument that Bret Hart, that's what made his career, was being the IC champ before he became the world champ. I loved the fact that the IC title, I loved that back when the IC title was the stepping stone to the world title.
Right.
It's like you did this before you did this. But who do you think? I know who yours is, but for those people that may be living in a cave and haven't heard you talk over the couple more, who is your favorite?
You know what? My favorite is definitely Shawn Michaels, but it speaks. You know what? You're the second person that's done that this week, and it's just as awkward hearing it from you. So Shawn Michaels, in my opinion, takes that Intercontinental Championship and just runs with it, and certainly puts some prestige behind it. Plus, who can forget WrestleMania 10, the ladder matchup between he and Scott Hall. Then, of course, the follow-up with he and Scott Hall again at SummerSlam. These matchups were tremendous. I think that when you look at the best of all time for Intercontinental title, and what we've seen is in the Corner to Corner Facebook page, our Facebook group has been doing a pretty interesting poll, so to speak, or competition as to who we would vote as the best. And
Time to vote again.
Yeah, I know, right? It's now every 2 hours, plus 20 and minus 20, the way Scott just updated it. But here's the thing. Some of the champions that got eliminated first, early, really surprised me. The Miz was eliminated super early in this competition. Jericho, by the way, is still in the running, which is great. But Savage, you mentioned Savage, and I myself, I don't know that Randy Savage is actually, to me, I don't look at that as a big part of his career. The matchup that he had, of course, with Steamboat is a big part of why his success is there. But I look at Savage and think of his world title runs.
Right.
Same for Steamboat. Who could forget Steamboat's feuds with Flair and all of that? But looking at the Intercontinental title, you got to look at guys like Jericho, The Miz, Michaels, Perfect, Bret Hart, of course. But wow,
Perfect was eliminated, and I thought Perfect brought relevance to that title.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
definitely.
But people that hung on there for a while,
Oh no, Perfect's in the lead, 216 right now. Wow, that's a lot of points.
But somebody like Ezekiel Jackson, or
Test. He was another one that stuck around for a good while. I'm like, what?
Come on, really? It's because people kept scrolling by, I think.
Probably. So if you get an opportunity, head to the Corner to Corner Wrestling group on Facebook. It is open to the public as far as joining in. If you're certainly welcome to join in and throw your votes to it, because we want to see what you've got to say, and we want to see who you think is the best Intercontinental Champion of all time. Rob, before we sign off for the night, quick thought about Superstar Shakeup. Your prediction, your top two predictions as far as who goes to what show?
The Club goes to SmackDown.
Okay.
And I would love it if Finn Balor would go with him. And they put Finn Balor and AJ and the Club together.
Oh, wow.
And let them run ragged. Because AJ could take the world title or keep the world title. the club could take the tag titles, and Finn could easily slide in and take the U.S. title off of Jinder.
Wow. I like those ideas. What if we saw Braun Strowman sent to SmackDown and Daniel Bryan sent to Raw?
I think you can see Daniel Bryan go to Raw, and I could see what some of the women getting messed up. I could see them taking. I could see Sasha Banks going to SmackDown,
right?
And I could see Becky Lynch getting put on Raw, or Naomi being put on Raw, something like that. I think Charlotte's going to stay where she's at, because if you put her, well, I mean, you could take her, put her on Raw, and you could have her and Asuka do series together. But then again, eventually, one of those two is going to have to take on, Alexa. Because I know people that Alexa doesn't have the belt right now, but she's going to get it back. Okay, calm down.
Yeah, I don't think. And
now my Alexa in the other room's going freaking out. She's like, "I don't know you." Alexa, stop.
You should tell Alexa good night. She'll say, "Night, night, sleep well." I think with everything we're seeing from the call-ups, Ember Moon, I think, was an exciting one. I would like to see what happens with her. To the cringe feelings, you get for Authors of Pain, because you worry what they're going to do to them as a tag team. What happens next on the Superstar Shakeup? Who can know? But you can count on your boys here at Corner to Corner to deliver the opinions and their thoughts. We're going to wrap it up for this evening. Rob, where do they catch you on social media, sir?
At the corner of Give Me Money and I Like Donations. No,
greatest nation in the world.
At Rob Hefner C2C on the Twitter, Rob Hefner on Facebook, RDHUWP on the Instagram, and that's where all I'm at. And so, yeah.
All right, and you can follow me on Facebook or Twitter or something. The Twitter, the Twitter sphere. At Stan from Krypton. Facebook, you can catch me on at Stan Grubb. And Instagram, I do have my own Instagram account. You can also follow the show at Corner to Corner. And that, as they say, is that. We will see you again next Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel. Eddie?
Yes?
Take us home, sir.
Nikki Bella does not take American Express. John Cena found that out.
Oh.
Real quick, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. Of course, BeyondRingside.com, home, ProWrestlingRadio.net, home. And of course, you can find Corner to Corner through iTunes as well as through Spreaker, as well as a couple of other different, I believe Apple Podcast carries y'all as well, right?
They do indeed. Yes, sir.
From that vantage point, be back in the saddle next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central Time, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. For Brian, who's in absentia, he's been kidnapped by aliens 3 days early. For Rob.
Yes.
For Stan.
Remember, Brian can be found on Twitter at STRCP21 and the show C2C Radio Show. Thank you very much.
This is Fast Eddie Layne saying, this is Don Pardo saying, good night.
Bye.